Hey, welcome to the His and Hers Freedom Podcast, where faith, family, and freedom always come first.
We are Frank and Alyssa Williams, mom and dad to 5 beautiful children. Every week, we're going to dive into a mix of family, current events, and what it's like to hold the minority opinion in today's world. So grab whatever caffeine keeps you going.
Or some pre-workout. Let's get it.
Welcome in for episode 1 of the His and Hers Freedom Podcast. And can I just say, so excited to be here. Totally thrilled. Dream come true. Yeah, we're gonna open up real quick though in a little prayer. Yeah, go right ahead.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this platform you've led us into. Father God, we thank you for everybody listening. Give us the courage to speak truth and grace and to do it with love.
Amen. Okay, again, stoked to be here. This episode is going to be called The Moment Everything Changed. And it is just the story behind this show and how one heartbreaking event turned into our personal awakening. Just a little bit about who we are. If you don't know, we are a blended family of 5 kids. We've got 1 boy and 4 girls. Poor boy. We're both previously divorced. Now we are remarried, and we are also running a company together while I homeschool our son and youngest daughter. We are entrepreneurs, parents, husband and wife, and yes, co-workers. During COVID, when everything shut down, I started sharing online faith, motherhood, style, home life, and as lots of people did. I feel like that's really when the influencer movement kind of blew up. I'm not to say I'm an influencer by any means, just kind of a micro influencer. And I was able to get a couple deals, but it just opened up some doors for me to make some little bit of money on the side. And yeah.
So through all that, we talked about starting a podcast probably 100, 200 times. You said it in passing probably at least 200 times. Yeah. But we never really had a clear mission, right? I mean, it wasn't just clear to us. It was just, we should get on and talk.
Yeah, but then we realized, okay, well, there's only so much we can talk about. People aren't going to want to listen to our day-to-day life. They're not going to want to listen to stuff about our marriage, our family, and the tumultuous divorce.
That's a good word. Until now.
Now we have a reason. We have why, and I think it's going to be very easy to just keep it going. We're always going to have something to talk about. The moment of our why came the day that the news broke when Charlie Kirk had been assassinated. Now, Charlie wasn't a name that we threw around every day by any means, but we did both respect him. We both agreed and followed his work. We loved his boldness and what he stood for. And when I opened up my phone, I was here in the office and just going about my normal work day. I was dressed up, ready to go, had the kids dropped off with the nanny, and I was ready to get to it. And so I had already been in the office for a few hours, went and grabbed some lunch, opened up my phone onto TikTok, and like many people, I was definitely not prepared for what I saw on my phone screen, and I just shattered right then and there. Frank was out of state, and I texted him immediately, and I said, Charlie's been shot. And I can honestly say that that's the last time I can remember in a long time where I dropped to my knees and just cried to God for a miracle for our nation and especially his family.
Yeah, I was, as you said, I was out of state in a meeting, oil and gas meeting, a room full of oil and gas guys. It's a very important meeting to us. And as soon as that text came through, I just read it and froze. I think I just blurted out right there in the meeting that Charlie Kirk had been shot. And, everybody's like, what? So we that was a long meeting. I had to continue for a couple of hours at least, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Everything kind of ran together. But as soon as that meeting was over, I kind of dipped out of that room and went into my office and shut the door. And man, just the tears started rolling. He immediately went to his family, his wife and kids.
Yeah.
That's just a sad situation. So,
Yeah, so then we talked after a few hours of really not getting to talk about it, and I was just like, "Just get home. Like, tie things up and come home," because it was devastating, truly. Number 1, to witness that. Number 2, just not that we had either met him in person, but he was just somebody we really, really looked up to and admired from afar, and it's just not something that you think, is gonna happen. Not even a chance.
yeah, I mean, it crosses your mind, but you just quickly put that aside.
Yeah,
Not for
split
somebody
second.
who's not in some sort of presidential administration
Right,
or something.
and it's like, I think the stance that everyone, left or right, took was that he was the most um, violent, non-aggressive person who had a differing opinion from them, but also, that is the reason that Charlie Kirk got shot, because the left knew his name and knew what he stood for.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a September 10th was the day it all changed for us.
Yeah, yeah. So a little bit more about that. Frank was, driving home immediately, just as soon as he could. It was like a day, I think.
Yeah, it was the next day.
The next day, and he texted me on his way home and was like, are there any vigils around the area? Surely, being near Houston, there's going to be something, right? And in Texas, such a red state. But I was like, no, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Google, I'm on all these like events and stuff. Couldn't find anything, any kind of vigil or anything honoring him whatsoever. And so I said, no, but I'm looking. And then the next day he took me we were headed to go
Drop your car off for service. And you looked right at me and said, I can't find anything. Can I host something? If you know my wife, that's just her. And I said, yeah, if you think a few people will show up. I think between the two vigils we had, I don't know, 800, 900 people. So
wild.
yeah,
Wild,
crazy.
beyond.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see all these people and just the whole community came together. The amount of law enforcement that came out
Yeah.
For protection, and
Homeland Security.
we're all just devastated.
The next couple of days, you could feel something shifted. Just 3 days later, we had the opportunity to go to his memorial service in Phoenix, and so that's what we did.
Yeah, we boarded a plane to Phoenix for Charlie's memorial service in Glendale. We were able to take your brother.
Yeah, my little brother, he's opening he had already applied to open a TPUSA chapter in his high school, and so they're going through that process, and we really wanted him to be there with us so that he could get inspired and motivated and encouraged to carry on with what he was starting. So
yeah, so just to kind of talk about that flight, we're wearing our freedom shirts, and I probably saw 20 to 30 people wearing freedom shirts throughout the airport. We had people coming up to us, shaking our hand.
Right.
And then on the flight, lots of people were going out for the same thing.
Well, I would say well over half of the flight was headed to the memorial service.
About halfway through that flight, Alyssa turns to me and says, I feel like I'm supposed to sing Amazing Grace when we land. Let's sing Amazing Grace when we land. And if you know her and you know me, I was like, pump the brakes. Nope. I'm not going to sing.
No, you're not going to do that.
That voice is talking to you, not me.
And so I'm like, okay. Because I was really warring with myself. I was like, no, this is just in your head. Why would you do that? It's going to be disruptive. And then, so I was like, okay, I'm going to ask Frank. So I asked Frank, and he's like, no. You're not doing that. Heck no. And so I'm like, okay. So, and then it just kept pushing on me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I'm so.
Forget you.
I don't care what you say.
I mean, at the end of the day, Charlie would say, do it.
Absolutely. And that was the Charlie angel on this side saying, hey, Just do it. What do you
Get it
got to
done.
lose? So I did. I wrote over a picture of him, a text that said, "Let's sing Amazing Grace when we land for Charlie." And I just passed my phone throughout the cabin. It went all the way to the back and then made it all the way back up to first class. And every person was like, "Yes, thumbs up. Awesome. Let's do it." And so sitting directly across the aisle from me was a Fox News reporter. I didn't know at the time, and so I looked over at him and I was like, "You want to do this?" And he's like, "Yeah, thumbs up." And so the plane lands and the whole plane just, while we're taxiing, it just erupts into Amazing Grace.
Just one of those you had to be there moments.
Exactly. And so that the guy across the aisle obviously was recording, and we get to our hotel and open up my phone, and the video is there, and it's got 2 million views already, and it had only been a couple hours, and we were like, "What?"
Yeah, and he just, shout out to Ben Ferguson for that, but he just posted it to his social media and immediately had 2 million views.
Absolutely.
And that was before Fox News got a hold of it. And I think at this point it's got 6-7 million views altogether in the different videos overall.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So
I should start listening to you a little bit more.
Maybe here and there. I won't take all your power. And so I just would like to kind of sidebar on that anytime you have an inkling or a still small voice, or if it feels just like a thought and it's a positive thing and it's going to impact somebody in a positive way, even if it's just one person, I would say step out and do it, because just that one little act of obedience to that small voice or thought or whatever it was, 6 million people have seen, or Amazing Grace has been played 6-7 million times. For a lot of people watching the news or on social media may have not ever heard that. And what a beautiful song to look into the history of, the rich history that's Amazing Grace. It was written, actually, I don't know if you know this, Frank, but it was written by an atheist.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And so he was just a poem writer or a hymn writer back in the day when like Winston Churchill was in office. And so he was commissioned to write Amazing Grace. And actually he came to the Lord after, the music was written and placed on his words.
Wow.
And he came to the Lord after that. So anyway, there's just a rich history there with that song. It's
power.
Yeah, the power. And it's the opening song on the Charlie Kirk show for Charlie's podcast. Anyway, just really amazing thing.
Yeah, it was for me, watching my wife get that calling, she's so much better than I am, because I quickly pushed that back down.
And I did. Like I said, I warred with it for a long time before I even said anything to you about it.
A long time. It was like 5 minutes.
My stomach was turning. My hands were sweating. I'm like, no. I'm like tapping my feet. Not going to do it. But anyway.
Yeah, no, it was just an inspiration to see since that day, not just that moment, but since that day, you've really, I've been telling myself, and I'm working on it. I've been telling myself, just get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If something's positive, like you said, if something's positive, get uncomfortable, get it done.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
If it can uplift somebody and change their perspective, I mean, do it.
Right.
Going into the memorial service, it was an experience, to say the least. We woke up at 1:00 in the morning to get to the gates outside the stadium by 2 a.m. And when we first got there, we were very close to the front, but people had been camping out since 6 p.m. the night before. And it was pretty chill and calm. Everybody was just talking, kind of trying to keep each other awake. And, we're all, of course, unified in that we're there for the same reason. And majority of the people never met him. And so it was a really nice few hours until about 4 a.m., I would say. Utter chaos that ensued after 4:00, because they had announced initially that the gates weren't going to open until 6 a.m. And then when we got there, they moved the time down to like 5 or 5:30 or something. And so, but there was just a rush at the gates of all these people trying to get up close, because it was a first come, first serve situation. So everybody was kind of cutting in line and like, oh, I'm going up there with my aunt. Oh yeah, my uncle's up there. And it's like, okay, We've all been here since 2:00 this morning, and you're just getting here at 4:30, 5:00 and going straight to the front of the line. So that was frustrating, but yeah, people started rushing the gates. It was very crowded. 3 girls passed out before even, sunrise, just because it was so hot. There were so many people, and people just were ruthless. Were not budging. You could push them, or people would push you. They didn't care. There was no order.
Everybody was just focused on the first come, first serve.
Right.
We want to make sure we get in there.
Yeah, we came all this way.
yeah.
Same thing we would, but we were not aggressive. We weren't aggressive.
You were trying to throw lines together when the staff came out and said, "Hey, we need to get lines together. We need to get some organization here," because there was nothing. There was one gate.
One gate.
And
about
everybody
2,000, 3,000 people trying to go through one gate.
Yeah, I mean, at the one gate we were at, there was 2 other open gates.
Entrances,
entrances, but the one we were at, it was just, I don't know about the others, but there was no lines, there was no nothing. It was just literally free for all. It was the outer perimeter, right? And then once you got in, there were some gates. But even through the chaos, there was, there's still a lot of love. A lot of people, you've got people chanting USA, and you look up on top of buildings, you got snipers up there just throwing their hands up.
It was definitely experience of a lifetime and an honor to be able to attend. Once we got inside, it was about 7:30ish in the morning. And there was already worship going. You just kind of go to your seat and sit. One thing I will say that was very interesting. So it was a no bag policy because the president was going to be there in attendance. And so if you know me at all, you know that I'm like my mother, and I do my makeup in my car.
I call you Junior for a reason.
I do my makeup in my car every single time I go to do it. And my New Year's resolution the past 2 years has actually been to stop doing my makeup in the car and do it in the house before I leave. But I have
we're working on it.
I've failed both. Maybe I'll get better. But anyway, so just something silly. We left our hotel room at 1:00 in the morning. It was pitch black. So I was like, well, guess I got to do my makeup in the car. Not
Uber.
even in the Uber, not even thinking, I just always do my makeup in the car. And I'm like, crap, I have all my makeup in this bag. What am I going to do with it? And so I knew it was a no bag policy. So I had on like this blazer jacket with pockets. So I took out all of my really good, expensive makeup and put it in my pockets. And then, I'll go to hide my makeup bag behind a post, thinking they're not going to find it. But oh my gosh, they had snipers just going directly to where somebody would put something down, because of course could be a bomb in it or something, rightfully so. Anyway, RIP to that makeup bag and all of its contents.
Yeah, she gone.
But anyway, afterwards, we did look for it afterwards. But another interesting thing was that once you got inside, you get your seat, you go to your seat, and you have somebody in your group stay there. So Frank stayed. My brother and I went to go get drinks and food because we were starving. But all of the drinks were served without lids, which I was like, what is that? Really? Why are we doing no lids? I just thought maybe it was that stadium's policy or whatever, but it was because I asked a security guard whom I bribed to allow me to use. I paid her to let me use her phone charger. It was like a little portable phone charger. And I was like, I'll rent it from you for $10 an hour. And she was like, deal.
Yeah, we were not prepared.
No, not at all.
Showing up at 2 to 8. So by the time we got in there, my phone's dead.
It has like 3%. Anyway, so I
shout
paid
out to that security guard. Appreciate you.
Yeah, but I asked. So when we were talking, I asked her about the no lids because you've got these massive boxes with popcorn and nachos and all this stuff, and you just got a water bottle no lid. You have a Coke cup no lid, and she's like, yeah, that's because the president's here and they don't want people throwing bottles or drinks or things at him. And if the lids are off, they won't make it very far. So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, jumping into kind of the memorial service itself, there were a lot of first times It's the first time that the president and his entire cabinet's attended a civilian memorial service. And it was just, gosh, it was amazing in there. I mean, from the start to finish, the music, I felt like from the president, every speaker in there, from president, vice president, his entire cabinet, the Secretary of War, Secretary of State, gave what felt like altar calls. It didn't feel political. We're honoring a great young man. It felt like a revival.
Yeah.
It really did.
Absolutely. I mean, and there were some, like Trump Jr.'s speech, his was a little bit more political leaning, but that's to be expected with his personality. You kind of know that going in, but
he was awesome.
He was awesome. I loved his, I think, the most, of course, other than Erica's speech, but just to sit under all of those leaders, just to be able to be there and sit under them was really a once in a lifetime experience, because when are they ever going to get together like that again and it be open to that?
We hope that they don't something like that again. We kind of didn't want to be there in the first place.
No, and that's, you're right. I mean, I don't want to imply that at all. Lots of people that we were talking to were like, it's an honor to be here, but I don't want to be here.
Yeah. I wish we didn't have to come, or we weren't here. It was amazing when the president first selected his cabinet. I was like, man, this is going to be good to watch the next 4 years.
RFK, JD Vance,
Marco Rubio, Pete
Caroline Leavitt.
Yes.
I mean,
a
dream
young
team.
Conservative dream team. I felt like, and
then Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. And to see all of these people, to think that, and then to see all of these people months later get up, and every single one of them talked about Jesus. It was amazing. It really was.
Yeah. Okay, so finish the service, and just remember thinking as we're leaving, wow, just speechless, really incredible. So we leave the next morning, and on the flight back to Houston, something about those flights, my hubby says, hey, why don't we start that podcast?
Yeah, so that's probably been like the 201st time we had said that, or somebody had said that. We kind of we talked about it. We're like, let's give this a little bit more thought. We're on a flight together. We got some time to kill. Kind of came up with a name.
Yep.
We knew his and hers. We knew we wanted freedom in there, and so I kid you not. And if you know my wife, you know this is just. I mean, you're gonna chuckle, but 20 minutes, maybe not longer than 30 minutes later, she just shows me her iPhone screen. And she has the cover photo already done. It looks amazing. And man, my hand starts sweating because I'm like, this just got real. Like, no, let's pump the brakes, babe. And she's like, hey, I got the lights, I got the microphones, I got everything in the cart ready to go. And my heart starts beating. I'm like, man,
of course you do.
I should not have said anything.
You're gonna hold me accountable.
But again, I'm working on getting uncomfortable.
Exactly. So a little over 3 weeks later, and here we are.
Yeah, I think after Charlie's death, I kind of, and I'm gonna get real here. It's kind of an awakening moment for me. Realized how cowardly I'd been living in my faith and my love for country. If you know me, you know my faith and you know my love of country, but I wasn't outspoken about it. I wasn't going to ruffle any feathers. I might like a post here and there online, but I'm not going to share anything, especially if it's going to offend somebody. And I just want to keep the peace and not stir up any fights. Just I was more worried about people's opinions than God's truth. And that hit me hard. I said, not anymore. Deleted a lot of people off social media, out of my phone. And then my mission got pretty clear. God, serve my family, serve others, and that's it.
That right there.
Everything else is just background noise.
Right. And that's the whole reason we're doing this, is to wake people up just like we've been woken up. And it's to remind people that silence is a choice. So a little bit about what this podcast stands for is, like Frank said, we're not here to play it safe. We're going to talk about things that make people uncomfortable, things like furries being validated in our kids' schools, drag queen story hours being paraded as education, and the woke left trying to guilt the rest of us into respecting confusion over truth.
Yeah, I mean they're sterilizing their kids. and themselves, erasing their future while the right's building families, raising leaders, and just having children who will inherit this nation. It's very important. If we don't stand up, somebody's going to. And that was pretty eye-opening to me, how passionate Charlie was in a lot of his, or all of his speeches. He was not as scared to give his opinion. And that's where I kind of, fell back into the darkness on, was just not sharing my opinion. And all that changed. Yeah. So. Yeah. The torch has been passed, and we're not going to let it go out. I can promise you that.
We're not afraid. We're having all the babies. We are the future. And if for nothing else, for Charlie. That's right. That's right. So what's coming next? Next week, we're going to dive right into one of the wildest things happening in our schools right now. And I know if you're a parent, you can relate. Unfortunately, it's a story about a so-called furry that our daughter's friend told us about. And you won't believe how this is being normalized and how parents are being silenced for questioning it.
Yeah, it's going to get real. It's going to get raw. If you've ever wondered how we got here, you do not want to miss episode 2.
Yep. Okay, well, that's about it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. We're excited to see what's to come.
Yep.
And I will put opportunity for feedback for you down in the comments below. You can send us an email, or if you have us on social media, just give us a DM. We're looking forward to everybody's opinion. We want to challenge opinions, and we want people to challenge our opinions. So, yeah, until next time. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. We hope something you heard encouraged or challenged you.
Yeah, and if it did, share it with a friend, leave us a quick review, and keep standing for faith, family, and freedom.
See ya!